friends. We're back, baby.
We're back.
We're back on. Sorry about the audio issues. The app, this is our first time doing a live on the channel, and the app just decided to crash. I'm just going to clear the lens here to make sure you guys have a smog-free experience. We're smoking some Cuban cigars with Renee. I'm going to come in with my laptop here. We're going to get talking about, I'm just going to make sure the audio is working on the laptop itself. Okay. Yeah, we're here talking about what it's like relocating to Portland. I'm just going to test the live feed here. Make sure. You're probably going to hear me twice. We're here. So yeah, I can see our audio's back on.
I can see clearly
I can
now.
even
The
see the
rain
reflection
is
of us
gone.
on the phone. So if you see that cut out at all, it's a sure sign that YouTube, for whatever reason, decided it wasn't going to work. But hey, we're back here. If you are with us right now, just feel free to pop off in the comments and let us know about any questions you have of relocating from Portland to Vancouver. Definitely here to answer any questions. And, you know, I've got a lot of people moving from all over either the country or, you know, I've even had conversations with people moving from out of the country, like Italy. So definitely here to answer any questions about what it's like. What are the culture shock moments going to be? What are some things that you should know about the schools, about the weather, about the traffic? Like, where should I live if I'm in this situation? Like, you know, raising a family, I've got kids, or maybe you're dual income, no kids. You got a dog, and you want the best dog friendly area. We're here to answer all of the questions that you might have. Um,
And for those of you that are watching, you know Tim Jackson, local realtor. My name is Renee Candler, local mortgage broker. And it's fun being a part of the show and also helping answer any questions, especially on the loan side.
yeah, we're smoking some cigars here. We are classy business people, businessmen that love to do business the good old traditional way, which is honestly, ethically, above board. I feel like a lot of the way that we run our business is just having open and honest conversations with people. Uh, and my conversations, I think in this day and age, people are wary of the term like, or I think they're rightfully so, wary of salespeople or people that sell. And I've just never allowed that to be part of what defines, and you haven't either. So the reason that we do business together is that we have honest conversations with people that are making big decisions in their lives and advising them on what's best for them. So that's just to say that if you have any questions, I do my best to put myself in that person's shoes and say, what would I do in that situation? Um,
Yeah, you do a great job of being empathetic. And I'll say, leaving education, I was in public school education for 18 years. From those 18, 13 in school administration. It feels good to be authentically me, where I found myself, and this is just me. This has nothing to do with the system, though the system did some of this to me, or I allowed it to happen. I learned that I couldn't completely be authentic. I had to be very careful with what I said and how I said it. And even though there's still some of that within me, right? I know to be tactful, that's important, but I can be authentically me in this industry to help support in what I believe is the wisest investment one can make, and that is in home ownership.
yeah. So let's talk about the first topic I want to talk about. And if you're watching and you have any topic, like feel free to not hijack the conversation, but feel free to ask a question, whatever it is, and we are here to answer it. Um, but I think the first question we want to talk about is education. I think is a good starting point because Renee, you were the principal in Chicago, and then you moved over and you were the principal in Portland schools, and then
And in North
in
Clackamas.
North
And
Clackamas.
North Clackamas is a smaller school district. Well, it's one of the top, is it top 8 school districts in the state in regards to student population. Still smaller than Portland Public, but it abuts the Portland Public School District.
Yeah. No, 100%. Baby Jesus, I just want to thank you for pointing out that the audio stopped working. I really appreciate that. If you have any questions yourself, as we start this back up, we had a lot of people watching, and I think it just dropped off because the audio wasn't working. So people were watching some mimes on YouTube, which is not what we're here for. We're here to answer your questions, and so if you have any questions about what it is like living in Portland or Vancouver, any of the suburbs, I've lived in Vancouver. I've lived in Portland proper, even through the dark COVID days. As far as
And you were talking about education. So, what questions do you have, or what questions do you hear when someone is looking to relocate into Oregon, maybe the Portland metro area? What kind of questions do you hear in regards to the schools?
I hear in Vancouver and Portland, I'll go over a small list of questions. One of them is I want to live in an affordable area where I'm paying 450 to 600,000 for a home. So kind of the average Portland house price is about 550. And I feel like most people moving to Portland don't really want to be spending, and it makes sense given that our income levels aren't quite Seattle or California. They want to make sure. Um, that's awesome. I just see that Baby Jesus, you live in the Bay Area and you're considering Portland, Vancouver, and Seattle. Just to I'll get back to that thought, but we're actually, Baby Jesus, we have a video next week on Portland versus Seattle. So that video is just for you. And a great real estate agent in Seattle would be there to answer all your questions about Seattle. But we go over the key differences of which one is better. And so I'm excited for you to watch that video. Make sure I see you quite often now in the community, so just make sure you're back for that one. So really excited about that. But just to get back to people's top questions about education when they're relocating, one of them is that affordability versus I don't want my kids to be in a bad school environment. That is, I don't want them to get in with the wrong crowd. I don't want them to. I want them to have a good education. I really care about their education, and I would like for them to be successful, just like any parent. And I just don't want to make a wrong decision by putting them in a school district that, quite frankly, doesn't care about the student.
Sure. Yeah, well, the first thing that I will say, and this is just based on my experiences in public schools, the first thing is education comes from home. That's the first piece. And the parents that are asking those questions are the parents that will be around their children, that will be asking the right questions at the dinner table, that will be making sure that their kids are within the right circle of friends. And so that's the first thing that I would say to any parent that has those questions is just a reminder that you are the biggest advocate that your child has. And within those 18 years, I never met a parent that did not love their child. And I'll say that again because that's some of the things that I hear. I never met a parent that did not love their child. And so that's one thing to remember when you're working with other parents, and you know this already,
You've
especially
never met a
those.
parent that never didn't love their child?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I have
I
heard
mean,
that. I've heard that before,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there are people that believe that. And what I've learned is that people show love differently.
yeah,
People grow up with love differently, but yet people seek love and they seek to offer love. And that vulnerability exists in every parent that I met. How they show that love might be different than how you show it or how I show it. And that might be a different conversation. But every single parent I met loves their child.
yeah,
And I'm not trying to be naive, and I'm certain that there are parents that one can point, see, they don't love their child. And I'm sure there people are like that do exist.
yeah,
I never met that person.
yeah.
And so that's the first thing I would say. In regards to what's the right school community for your child, that's probably another conversation, or maybe the next question. And that's where I would say, as a parent, you have the right to go into schools, talk to school principals, check out the dismissal times. How are the kids coming into school? How are kids leaving
Yeah.
school? How do the kids act
Are there any
after leave school?
are there any school districts or areas that come to mind that are in that nice point between affordability and just a very good school district that you've heard good things about?
You know, Portland Public reminds me a little bit of Chicago, where the Chicago public schools, when it's a tale of two cities in the sense that every community has its own unique vibe. And you'll see that within the schools because the schools are those microcosms. So Portland Public Schools has a lot of good schools. And North Clackamas School District has a lot of good schools. Beaverton School District has a lot of good schools. You hear a lot of good things about Lake Oswego or West Lynn, Wilsonville. These are all the school districts that surround that Portland metro area.
Somebody's asking who is the guest, a computer guy 23. My guest is Renee Candler. Renee is a real estate mortgage advisor, former school principal in Portland, North Clackamas, and then previously Chicago
I'm a Chicago public school
about a decade
student,
ago.
teacher, assistant principal, principal. Yeah, thank you for the question. My name is Renee.
Yeah.
I'm currently a mortgage advisor, so I help find the loan to buy the home.
And they're also saying that they're going a side quest trip from the southeast. Make sure I'm understanding this. You're in the southeast right now, and you're going from the southeast over to Washington Park today. I take that like maybe your Airbnb's in Southeast Portland, really beautiful area. Washington Park is a beautiful, beautiful park to go to on the west side. We're inside a speakeasy. I think it was a little bit cloudy, but if you have the opportunity to also go to the Rose Gardens, just up there,
The
the Rose.
Japanese garden, the rose garden, that which are close to each other.
Oh, they meant from Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, that is
Okay.
a different southeast. Okay. So, yeah,
From
southeast
Hotlanta. Okay.
Southeast Portland
That's
versus
a big
Georgia.
city, right? That's up there like Chicago in size and scope.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about Atlanta is it's not a big city, but the greater metro Atlanta's big.
It sprawls. Yeah.
Yeah, home of Coca-Cola. So no, that's great. Washington Park is a beautiful place to experience Portland for the first time. You've got the Rose Gardens, which I would highly suggest checking out. You've got the beautiful old water reservoirs that aren't in actual. They've kind of changed those out due to federal drinking water guidelines, but still a.
Tim's talking about the West Hills right now.
Mhm.
And if you are from Portland, you know what that term means. If you're not from Portland, the West Hills is kind of where the old money is. And so think about the wealthier areas in Portland. That's the southwest part of Portland. You'll hear people call it the West Hills. And so when you think about Portland proper, there are two rivers that you think of right away. Columbia, which is the bigger river, separates Oregon from Washington. That's what separates the two states. And then you have the Willamette. The Willamette is what separates Portland. You have the west side, which is west of the river. And then you have the east side, which is east of the Willamette River.
Yeah. And Portland is pretty, I would say, fairly easy to explain from like a map perspective because you really have the west side and the east side, I would say, are the two dominant like geographies and vibes and cultures that are separate, similar but separate, similar but different in some ways. Whereas, I know Nino Baby Jesus is looking at Seattle, and Seattle is very different when you look at geography and all the different suburbs and how that can split up. So Portland, I would say, is fairly easy to get a decent understanding of. You could probably go to 5 different locations, is how I put it. You could go to 5 places in the Portland area and get a pretty good taste for the entire Portland metro by looking at those 5 places and saying which one do I like most, and then narrowing it down from there.
What are those 5 places? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I would say the 5 places are the west side. So where you're going, computer guy, the west side, I think Washington Park is a great place to start out. Forest Park, taking a hike through Forest Park and seeing the fact that you're basically what feels like a national park.
That's northwest.
Northwest, west side, yep.
Yep.
Northwest. It basically feels like a national park, 10 minutes from the city. Like, it is really quite mind-blowing to go on a hike, go to the Witch's Castle, and you go on a hike there, and within 2 minutes, you go from the hustle and bustle of the city into, what feels like, I was in Forest Park and the Mount Hood National Park in the same week, and I could not tell the difference if you were to like just have dropped me into that location and say, hey, you need to figure out which one's the difference. Outside of maybe knowing a little bit more about plant life and the fauna, I did not really, I could not feel the difference from the vibe. It's just so incredible that we have that national park so close. I would also be checking out Multnomah Village on my trip to the west side, because Multnomah Village is in the southwest and gives you a really good vibe for.
Bro, where's the east side love? That's a lot of west side right now.
Well, I'm giving you just one of the locations. This is
See, I'm east side.
yeah,
Just so you
yeah,
know, my wife is west side. Just because she was raised in the west side of the city,
yeah.
beautiful part of the city. But I gotta show some love to the east side. Okay, you get 3
Well,
places so far. The 5 have been from the west side.
no, that's one location.
Oh, that's
I'm
just one.
cheating.
Okay, okay,
I'm
okay,
saying
okay.
if you check out the west side, those are the 3 places I'd go. Washington Park is probably a pretty good feel. I would actually say Multnomah Village, if you're only going to pick one, is going to give you
Multnomah Village is trendy.
Mhm.
It's a cool area. You can walk to so many places, and the walkability of Multnomah Village is kind of rare in the west side just because of how hilly the
Right.
west side is.
Yeah. The next place I would check out would be on the east side of Portland. Would be either. See, it is a little bit of a pick your own adventure, because each 3 of those locations are going to give you a very similar feel.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really want the all-inclusive, I want to know what the west side is like. Those 3 locations are going to summarize it pretty nicely. On the east side, and then obviously if you like decide that's, because here's the thing is, if you decide the west side is for you after looking at these places, then you can get further in, start checking out other neighborhoods and looking at it from a kind of blow it up a little bit more and say, all right, let's start focusing in. Now on the east side, I would start on one of the main strips, one of the main bar dive strips, and that would be, and the east side is pretty broad, but we're gonna say the Alberta Arts District, the Hawthorne Strip into like maybe the Belmont Strip, and then man, I would really have to say like the Montevilla Strip into Mount Tabor are 3 different places that you could pick
You
any of
got to
those.
check out Mount Tabor. So I'll say that, just off the
Hmm.
bat, for those that are on the east side, want to check out the east side. Mount Tabor is a park unlike I've ever seen before. And I'll start with the park first. And you're talking to a guy right now who was raised in a city among the parks because that's what Chicago was designed to be. But Mount Tabor is on the top of this hill with these old growth trees. So beautiful, so different than what I ever saw growing up in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
It's definitely a must go to. You have to go to Mount Tabor. And then the outlying areas, the food scene, the shops, super cool. Stark Street is just coming off on the east side of Mount Tabor. I think that's a definite place to go check out.
Yeah. So that would give you a good taste of the east side, and you can pick any of those and then again dive in. The next place that I would be looking at is going south into the suburbs, Clackamas County. I would be checking out downtown Oregon City, because
Downtown Oregon City is cool.
I
Yeah.
think downtown Oregon City then sets you up for Milwaukee, Gladstone, maybe Oregon City's your vibe. To me, that's kind of similar to the east side in some respects, but a lot quieter and a little bit more of old America, a little bit more of that quieter look at life. And then on the flip side of that, I would be looking at Wilsonville or Lake Oswego as one of the 4th option. Probably Lake Oswego because it's a little bit closer in. It's definitely more highbrow, higher income, but there are more affordable options that are similar to it. If you decide that Lake Oswego is just
Did you say
too
high eyebrow? Is that what you said?
highbrow,
Okay.
like highbrow, maybe some high eyebrows there.
Yeah.
You might get some, yeah,
I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, yeah. Lake Oswego is where the money's at in the suburbs, right? You could say the same for Westland. Wilsonville is kind of like what Happy Valley is now. Now we're talking suburbs in the Portland metro
yeah.
area.
But I would say that if you were looking at all the areas, and even if you were to go to Westland, I think Westland resonated with you. Then you could look at Wilsonville or Happy Valley as well and be like, okay, they're cut from a similar cloth, I would say. They are the higher end suburbs that are little bit better for schools. I would say schools rate higher. Like if you look at the rankings, Westland School District, Nelson High School ranks a little bit higher.
Nelson High School is North Clackamas. That's in Happy
Hmm.
Valley. Happy Valley love.
Yeah, yeah,
That's right, because I'm in Happy Valley, have been in Happy Valley
yeah.
for the last 12
No,
years.
Wilsonville schools are great. Lake Oswego has two different high schools that are highly ranked. And you're able to get a more affordable price point in some of those communities for the more prestigious or like you really care about your kids going to the the best schools. That's probably where I would start out.
Yeah, yeah. The school conversation is a very nuanced conversation, and so that's a conversation that will depend on you. Like when you are ready to move into the Portland area, those that's a part of the conversations that I would definitely have, because it really does depend on the neighborhood, it depends on the particular school.
Yeah,
And then the school district is also a part of the
yeah,
conversation because they're the ones that kind of function and control the money.
yeah. So you've got the west side, you got the east side, you've got the suburbs down south where if you want the more old America feel or you want the more tucked away suburb feel. Those are the four locations so far. Now, the fifth place that I would check out, because we said Washington, let's just narrow it down to one place that you go to. I'm going to say Multnomah Village on the west side. I'm going to say the I'm going to say the Alberta Arts Strip on the east side. I'm going to say downtown Oregon City for the old America feel. I'm going to say because it's closer, you kind of got to pick between the downtown West Lynn and the downtown. I'd go to downtown Lake Oswego if you're wanting that feel. Fourth location. Now, the fifth place I would go to see if it's the right vibe for you would be it's a funny place to start out for this general area, but downtown Vancouver waterfront is a great place to start if you are thinking that that fifth area of Vancouver, Washington might be a good place for you.
A lot of investment in that waterfront. Vancouver in the last, what, let's say 5 years or so, maybe a little bit longer than that, chose to invest a good amount of money in that part of the city. It's beautiful. It's taken businesses out of Portland and into Vancouver. And along with a couple other things, you'll see that Vancouver has grown significantly in the last 4 years as a result of that investment. That's a good place to mark.
Yeah, and I would say that because there's just so much more to see in Vancouver because it is its own city and its own state in its own right. And so it's a good starting point if you're just kind of wanting to dip your toes in. And the downtown Vancouver waterfront is also just very close to the Portland metro area.
Hmm.
So I'm also trying to provide locations where you can go to and keep that five uh, pretty tight, like as far as a geographical without. If I told you to go check out Wilsonville, you're going another 20 to 30 minutes south just to check out an area that I feel could be put on a similar or cut from the same cloth as Lake Oswego, which is 20, 25 minutes closer. You know, downtown Vancouver waterfront is so much different than living in a place like Battleground or Hawkinson, which is 30 minutes north. You're
That's
looking
more
at
rural.
rural acreage properties, or even Camas, which has the best school districts in Vancouver. As much as Camas is its like completely own vibe and very, in some ways, distinguished and separate from Vancouver, I wouldn't tell somebody that just wanted to dip their toes into what Vancouver was like to go all the way to Camas. Once you start identifying closer to what you're looking for, then from there, let's just say, as an example, you're like, well, I've identified Vancouver as the place that I want to be. Then, okay, let's give you a few more places to go to get a good feel for, excuse me,
Yeah. And
get a good
don't
feel for the area. Like, I would say if you end up making Vancouver the place that is where you want to be.
One of the things that I think we should also touch upon is what is that price point that you're looking for? Obviously you're working with a mortgage broker. If not, it would be a privilege to be able to support you to understand how much can I afford?
Yeah.
Like what is my qualification amount? But then does that feel comfortable? Like what does that mean as a monthly mortgage payment? Once you are comfortable understanding those numbers, now you can go to Tim and say, okay, Tim, this is what I'm looking to purchase. what areas do you
Yeah.
recommend I visit? And I recommend you do just that. Visit those different parts of the city, because once you understand the amount that you're looking to purchase because you're comfortable with that monthly mortgage payment, now you have an idea of where you can shop. And now you can be an informed decision maker in regards to one of those 5 areas that Tim mentioned or anywhere in between, because there's a lot to look at.
Yeah, that's a good point because it also allows you to get more focused. And so while I've had the conversation with somebody that said, I want to move to Vancouver as an example, and I started giving them the options from there of these are the 5 places you should look within that particular spot, their price point also came into consideration. And they said, well, I'm not spending more than 600,000. And I said, well, then you shouldn't really spend a whole lot of time looking at Camas as an option because Camas is like the Lake Oswego of Vancouver. You don't want to be looking in areas that you already know you're going to eliminate once you get down to like, all right, now where are we going to plant roots? So what you were saying about like the price point does come into consideration. All 5 of those unique areas that we talked about uh, do have price point considerations in them. And even if one is, let's just say, like a slightly higher price point, we're going to use the more affluent Portland suburbs as an example. Then yeah, you even if you're shopping at the closer to the average or even lower than the average Portland price point of 550,000, you can find some homes in very nice neighborhoods at a price point that you could afford. I'm thinking about a client that we work together that works for the school district that knows the school districts really well. And he said, I want to live in Westland no matter what,
Mhm.
which is a significant price point to take on if you're looking at an affordable price point. But you and I work really hard to make sure our clients get what they're looking for. And we found him a home for under 500,000 across from a beautiful park.
Mhm.
His kids are going to the same school district that he locked in on and said this is where it is. And so knowing that local market expertise of is this something that is possible for me now that I've identified it is part of that conversation. And we found him a beautiful home. He is so happy there. Really happy to work with somebody to tackle uh, finding a the right place in the right location. And even I say that like, is Camus going to price you out if you end up identifying I want to live in Camus? There's some affordable homes in Camus. You just got to know where to look.
And you have to want to live in Camas as well, because
Hmm.
that's farther away. So for those that are more city life creatures, I mean that's who I was. I came from a very large city, and so I just assumed I wanted to live in the city. And this is more of a God story. I was sent to Happy Valley, which to me was small town Americana. I never saw myself in the suburbs. I never saw myself with a minivan. Here I am. I got a minivan and we moved to a suburb. Like, what is going on? And it was the best decision that I ever made in regards to finding a house. And it's now not just my home, it's my community. And it's a community that I love and I invest in. And that's because of happenstance. That's the crazy part. So, that the reason why I say know your price point, make sure you're working with professionals that will help ask the right questions to kind of pull from you what you're looking for, and then to be able to know, okay, what am I comfortable spending? To then find the other professional like Tim to help you find the home in that community, so that not only can you find that first home, because a lot of times it is our first home, but more importantly for you to build roots and invest in that same community that you're living in, that you're raising your family in. That's what matters. And then the real estate game comes naturally after that. Because once you are comfortable in your home, then you can invest in other opportunities that will either create more opportunities for you or allow yourself to dig into those roots even more.
Yeah. And sound off in the comments if you got any questions that we can directly tackle head on and just say, hey, this is our opinion on it. We're happy to answer really any question you have about relocating here.
And this is cool, Tim. I appreciate the invitation to be a guest on the Tim Jackson channel. What's the name of your channel?
Living in Oregon and Washington with Tim Jackson.
And so what a cool treat to be here, to be in front of you guys, but more importantly to be next to you, Tim.
Yeah.
I love having these conversations with you. It's pretty cool when you find someone that is different than you and yet still like-minded, someone that helps sharpen each other. You know, I appreciate iron sharpening iron. Someone that is willing to ask the tough questions, because that's what you find in Tim. Someone that's doesn't have a problem in asking a tough question, asks it tactfully, because he asks it genuinely, wanting to help you and to support you into your real estate dreams. So it's just cool to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. And I found that using Renee to purchase my home when we got the loan is that there's the education side of things that even though I know a butt ton there is to know about the real estate, the way like real estate works and the way the whole sausage is made, so to speak. My wife Michaela is not as in tune with like the day in and day out of how real estate works. So having Renee at the table and going over the consultation, even though it's not, I'm always learning. So I was learning stuff, but Michaela especially found it super helpful in getting the education that is needed when you're making these big decisions of, you know, relocating, making a home purchase, just getting that general counsel and advice from somebody that you can lean on and say, okay, you always need that sounding board to be able to truly bring out what are you trying to accomplish. So we're here to be that sounding board and to go over your plans of what it's like to relocate here from the A to Z. It's not just about making the home purchase. That might be part of your plan in the process, but we work with people all the time relocating that are looking at job opportunities. I've
Mm-hmm. Yep.
helped people get jobs who are moving up here. I've connected them with CEOs of companies working downtown, the healthcare industry, small startups. I've got a huge source of people I know that run businesses as you do. I'm on the board of a local networking group that has over 50 plus businesses and counting. You're on the Happy Valley Business Alliance as the president. It's not to say as a bragging point that we're well connected. It's to say that we're well connected so that you can be well connected, so that we can connect our clients or our friends and people that are reaching out to us with the right resources, because we are in some ways the guide to get you to where you need to go. And that doesn't just end at the purchase of a home. It really just starts there, I would say.
Yeah, we flex our education muscle. And
Mm-hmm.
whether it's relocating from one state to Oregon, or whether it's relocating from one neighborhood in Portland to another, uh, we see each uh, we see each person as
Yeah.
who they are, because that's what matters the
Yeah.
most.
And it does start with just getting the boots on the ground, maybe getting a short-term rental or a place that you can set up base and say, okay, let's start the process.
Oh, there's so much strategy in this business. There really is. And
Yeah.
so what you want is someone that explains that strategy to you. It's not
Yeah.
just the numbers. The numbers is a part of it. Of course it is. But then what's the strategy in the home purchase, in this neighborhood, in this market?
Of relocating, that getting to know the neighborhoods, and it does start with like starting at that low at that level of get a short-term rental and then speak to us about getting to know the neighborhoods. I
Do we have
think
any
is
questions? Because I know that I need to be going in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll do this stream for about 10 more minutes here.
Mhm.
And so if you've got any questions in the comments, we've had some people asking about they're considering Portland, Vancouver, and Seattle. We do have a video next week on Portland versus Seattle. So subscribe to stay tuned, because I'm talking to Monica Church, a heavy hitting real estate agent up in the Seattle area, about the key differences of Portland and Seattle. We also touch on Vancouver, obviously. Um,
Talking about Seattle and Portland, tell us about this coffee, because there's a huge coffee scene out here. This coffee's delicious. Where's this from again?
we're drinking a Kova coffee,
Uh-huh.
which is a local roasted Portland coffee company. Very good beans, single origin. I don't. All I know is that I opened up the red bag today, and it's a very good coffee. I don't know exactly where it's from. Um,
It was a
and
great pairing with the cigar. I'll say that.
yeah,
I tasted cranberry notes in the
yeah.
cigar that I don't think I've ever tasted before, and I wonder how much of that was from the pairing with this Kova coffee.
And I'm not sure if they're still with us, but there's somebody visiting from Georgia that's going out to Washington Park today. So if you're still watching, computer guy, we're here to answer any questions of where to go next. Or you can reach out, shoot me a text, and I'm happy to give you some pointers. You can reach me at 503-957-7981. Happy to set up a call as well. But yeah, just feel free to shoot me a text introduce yourself.
And
Here
from
to
Washington Park, go to Mount Tabor. Check out Mount Tabor on the east side. It's just a cool spot to go to.
Yeah, but yeah, we're here to answer any questions you might have here. Again, part of the process is the real estate's just one small part of it. Getting to know the neighborhoods, the school districts, the different neighborhoods. We were talking about the tax implications
Hmm.
earlier. There's just so many different layers to relocating to our area that if you don't know where to start, we're the perfect resource, the perfect people to talk to. Of you're just getting the ball rolling. I'm talking to people that are 6 months out of even
Oh, for
leaving
sure.
their state because they just want to get a nice foundation for when they get here. I'm talking to people having Zoom calls or FaceTime meetings uh,
Well,
to
I
to
mean,
get it oriented.
there's two families that I can think of that reached out early in this calendar year. I think January or February, and we've met with them virtually and personally. And it's just a part of the journey. Get started early, understand what you can do, understand what that means money wise. Have an opportunity to come and check out Portland if you can, see what neighborhoods you like, especially if you're getting job offers and this is actually very serious to you. Because once you know the information early, then you have time to make the right decision.
Proud to know the audio is still working. I apologize for that earlier video where the audio cut out. This is the first time doing a YouTube live, um, so it's definitely not going to be the last. We'll probably schedule one out later on as people request it.
Tim, what are your thoughts about sharing the link of this YouTube vibe video? Is that something that you do?
Um, like sharing the link
Hmm.
on like social media platforms and stuff
Yeah,
could happen. I mean,
think about that.
yeah, 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 we'll do. I'm not opposed to it. I'll talk to. I mean, the YouTube algorithm is just so weird, but
Uh-huh.
I'll talk to my gurus. I think it's fine.
You see, I asked this question because I want you to see Tim authentically thinking things through, and this is who Tim is. He actually thinks um, very carefully because he wants to have the right answer, and he knows that the right answer comes at different times throughout the conversation. And this is someone that will always give you him authentically him, and that's what I appreciate about you, Tim.
I'm 100% me 100% of the time.
Even when you're sleeping.
I think so.
Oh yeah.
That's why I sometimes can't sleep at night. I had a good night's sleep last night, but I had about a week of just not being able to sleep because I'm always thinking.
That means something. That means you got something in your mind.
Oh yeah, I'm always thinking. So I'm an idea factory in some respects. It can also be a word factory. But
They come
yeah,
hand in hand, don't they?
yeah. I like to brainstorm with people, and I like to get down to. I'm a pretty blunt and honest person. I feel like, but not in like a cold or callous way. I feel like people just want to know the actual truth of what am I getting myself into and what is actually going to happen. Versus, I don't like to paint a picture of what is just not going to happen. I really like to give people a realistic view of like this is what the relocation process is like, and here's the best practices that I've seen happen.
Yeah, and people really want to know what your true agenda is, right? I mean, people want to know who they're working with. They
Hmm.
want to know if the person that they're working with is really in it for them or really in it for you. And
Yeah,
that's the cool part when you work with someone that can be authentically themselves because they'll give it to you.
yeah,
And sometimes you may not like it, but you'll appreciate it because it's someone giving you the truth.
yeah. Well, we've got 5 more minutes here, so let's talk about. There's a lot of different topics we've covered. We've talked about weather. We talked about schools. We've talked about like the 5 different areas that you should start out at if you're wanting to start dissecting the different neighborhoods. Um, well, we can talk about the real estate market, I think, really quickly here, because I don't like to give market updates unless it's a very particular reason, but I think it's important to give right now because a lot of people right now are reaching out. I give market updates to people when we meet face to face because the market is a very particular thing that I need to be able to fine tune to a conversation I'm having with a person about like what are you trying to accomplish? Are you using a loan? Are you selling a home in a different part of the country? There's a lot of moving parts when it comes into the actual real estate market, that it's not just a cover all conversation. That being said, we're going to start getting into some market numbers here.
And as
Really,
Tim pulls this up, the market numbers that Tim will talk about, if I understand correctly, are going to be the Portland metro area.
yeah, we're talking about the Portland metro real estate market. Nationwide, home prices have been coming down from their peak. We definitely saw a peak of prices beginning of 2022, and then we saw a fairly large correction down into 23. There was a decent blowing off of steam, and now we've hit kind of a steady clip, at least in the greater Portland metro. Nationwide, real estate prices are coming down and becoming more affordable. Affordability is starting to become a thing again in some sense. We're hitting close to 4 months of inventory. September of 2025 in the greater Portland area, we had nearly 4 months of homes on the market, which means when you talk about like months of homes on the market, if you were to just take all the homes currently sitting on the market, it would take 4 months for the current demand of buyers to uh,
Buy all those
to buy
homes,
all those homes. Yeah,
which is relatively high. It's the highest that it's been since COVID,
it's the highest it's been. Yeah,
since 2019, I would say,
yep,
because once COVID hit and everything started to move again, that's when house demand went up.
yeah,
And we saw months of inventory under 1 month.
yeah,
And so now for us to get to 3.8 as we are right now in the Portland metro area is is pretty high considering where we've been the last 4 years.
yeah. And nationwide, new construction has become more affordable than existing homes. And that's because new construction has been pushing out to those outer suburbs where you're commuting to get into uh, places of work. And so there is that factor where you're getting some pretty significant discounts on new construction right now. I just helped some clients purchase a home where the neighbors had purchased for 650,000 just last year, and my clients got into it for a net price of like 608,000. Very similar floor plan, so that represented a $42,000 discount on the purchase price of a new construction.
Yeah.
Average price point of a home in the Portland metro area is just over 600,000. We're at like 620,000. The exact number is 616,200. But the median home price, which I think is a better representation, is 550,000 on the dot. Um, and 550 is really the number I use as you're going to get an average house. Now, when we talk about like where am I seeing clients win at the starter home price, we have clients right now that are buying a beautiful home in Vancouver in a nice community, really tucked into some nice neighborhoods, and it's a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, over 1,400 square foot ranch. I keep bragging about the price point because we got such a good deal on this home. We're in it for just over $350,000 after negotiating
Hmm.
pretty aggressively. And these are first time home buyers. And I say that 350,000 is not a price point that you're usually looking at a single family residence. Normally we were looking at townhomes as well, and they were very much open to the idea. I think the fact that we were able to get their own four walls for that price is a pretty significant win, because townhomes are kind of the more popular option when somebody's looking at less than $400,000 as their purchase price.
Which I think townhomes are a great investment, especially for the first time home buyer. But I want to highlight what Tim just mentioned. He said net, like 350,000 net. And I want to touch upon that because that's a part of the market strategy right now. And so let me just break it down a little bit. The purchase price is going to be a little bit higher than that 350K that Tim just mentioned, but it's because in this market we're negotiating. I would say that it is much more of a buyer's market than not. This is an opportunity for first time home buyers and even folks that aren't first time home buyers to get into the house that they're looking for at a purchase price that is fairly reasonable. But then you can get what's called concessions. And these concessions, you can use the seller's money as a credit to pay your closing costs. So you're coming to the table with the cash needed for the down payment and having the seller pay for the closing costs, which includes the fees and the establishment of the escrow, which is paying the property taxes and the homeowner's insurance. And in this particular case with these clients, not only did we get the money for the concessions to be paid for, but we also got enough to do what's called the temporary buy down, which again is using that seller's money as a credit to subsidize your monthly payment. So there's so many factors that are in today's market because it's much more of a buyer's market. You are, I guess there's more flexibility in negotiations, and you can use the seller's money to cover a part of your costs, all of your costs, and use it to lower that monthly payment. It's a cool opportunity right now for buyers.
Yeah. No, I mean buyers are definitely winning in this market right now. Affordability has crept back up to 93%. Uh, the average Portland income can afford 93% of the average Portland home.
Say that again.
So the average Portland income,
Mhm.
which is household income, is the median income is 124,000 in 2025 per HUD. Can afford 93% of the monthly mortgage payment of a median priced home of
550.
545,000. This is September number. It's gone up to 550. Um, but that's just to say that that wasn't the case even last year, where it was closer to 80%. I think we're in that ballpark where the average person coming is affording the average home. And one thing to think about is that in this market where you're maybe waiting out to refinance on the home, or you're looking at the interest rate as maybe the primary. I think the interest rate is probably the primary pain point, or the thing creating that affordability, is that you're looking at getting a significant discount on the price. And so that way, when you do end up refinancing, I've seen it time and time again. Somebody purchases for a good deal, they negotiate, they get a good price, and then when they refinance down on that rate, they're now getting the best of both worlds, and their affordability essentially ends up beating renting,
Oh yeah.
especially when they're looking at that long-term goal of financial stability. It beats it by a long shot. Now that's affordability, which I just think is great news on that front, that we're hitting an affordable market again. I really want to quickly mention that we talk about median price point, and somebody's like, well, do I have to then spend $550,000? Which is a significant amount for some people. A mortgage of over $3,000, depending on your down payment. That 550 is the average price. I mean, you're talking like a 2,000 square foot home. You're talking like a decent sized yard. Like that's a lot of house. So like if you're looking at as a first time home buyer and your needs aren't quite that high, not only is that representative of the overall Portland metro area, there's some really great locations, like our clients in a really nice part of Vancouver getting a home that's well below that. You can also just move to different areas in Portland that are going to afford you a great opportunity to get in at a great price.
And
I'm going to list off some numbers here. I'm going to go down the full list if you're watching, and we'll get to some questions before we close out. But I want to go over each area and just list off all the average prices of the areas, just to give you a an idea of the different price points that you might come across.
Tim, you're saying average, but it's median.
Median, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, and this is such a nerdy thing. I am a nerd. I
Yeah,
get
no,
it. I get it.
it's good.
Average, obviously, is when you take all of the home sales within a given time period and divide it by that number of home sales. That's average. Where median is used,
Yeah,
because median is you take those same home sales and you just list them from the most expensive home to the least expensive home. And it's the number that's found in the middle. Many people believe that is more representative. It is a truer, accurate number when it comes to home purchases because it shows that the majority of the people fall within that given scale.
yeah,
So that's why the median sale price is used in this information. Go for it,
yeah,
Tim.
yeah. I appreciate you making that correction, because median is an average is going to get pulled up by a $5 million mansion, is going to pull that average way up. Median sales prices in September 2025 of every single neighborhood or area on this map. We're going to start up in Vancouver with Woodland, which is a suburb just north of Vancouver at 471,000. So that's just north of Ridgefield, where stuff is popping off. Ridgefield, the center, where there's a ton of new construction, is $600,000 median.
Mm-hmm.
Battleground is $543,100. Northeast Clark County, we're talking up into Yakul, Amboy, really into the forest, 520,000. You get a lot of acreage properties out there for an affordable price point. Brush Prairie, Hawkinson, a little bit more of the horse properties, a little bit more stately, 571,200. Salmon Creek, really beautiful suburb of Vancouver, just north of it, $604,500 average price point. Salmon Creek is prestigious and lovely. Philida, similarly, very nice suburb of Vancouver, is $554,100. Hazeldale, Minnehaha, which I think is a nice budget option where you're getting a little bit of the best of the both worlds. And when people ask me what's a good place for both affordability and some decent school districts and some decent, neighborhood living, you're looking at a median house price of $471,200. So you're already seeing a pretty great area at a price that's below the average median across the board, where I think there's some opportunity, there's some equity growth there. Five Corners and Orchard, similarly, 551,000 median house price. Central Vancouver, 477,500. This is where we talk about Vancouver being an affordable place to live. Now you go to a place like Vancouver Heights, which is prestigious, big homes, river views, median price point of 878,500. But some people are looking for that prestige. And similarly, Camas, Washougal. Washougal is going to bring the median down a little bit. Camas is going to bring it way up. The median between those two is 742,500. If you were to actually take Washougal out of that picture and just look at Camas, you'd be closer to 900,000. If you were to just look at Washougal, you'd be looking at 500,000. To me, Washougal is that value luxury proposition because there is luxury construction happening there, and they've got a B plus high school. Camas is the A plus living. And I say A plus, B plus living, I'm just referencing niche.com rankings and the way that people rank things in that general thing. For some people, Washougal is the A plus neighborhood for what they're looking for. So take it more as like, the general consensus. We're going to now move to Oregon. Those were all Vancouver and Vancouver suburbs, specifically up in Washington in Clark County. We just covered all of Clark County there. We're now going to move to 4 different counties in Portland. We're going to start with the large counties that are kind of outliers, with Columbia County at 465,000, which is north of Portland up the Columbia River. And then you've got Yamhill County, which is at 475,000. That's wine country, Newburgh, Yamhill, McMinnville. Now let's break it down by Portland neighborhoods. North Portland is at a median price point of 465,000. West Portland is prestigious, 682,000. Northeast Portland is 495,000 median. So you're talking some very affordable homes below the median price point overall. Southeast Portland is 479,500. Again,
Is Southeast Portland the most affordable section of Portland proper?
not if you of Portland proper. North Portland is at 465,000, and Southeast Portland comes in close at 479,500. Now you get even lower when you're looking at Gresham, Troutdale, Sandy, Corbett, and Fairview all clumped in. Those are 2 different. That's crossing county borders into Clackamas as well.
And those are different municipalities altogether. But yes, close to Portland.
Very similar vibe.
Yes.
With each other, 471,000. Again, these are all under the median of 550,000. Now we're going to get to some places that are going to be over that median. Milwaukee, Clackamas, Gladstone, Boring, Estacada, 585,000. Those would all very much fall in outside of Happy Valley into that old America feel.
But I think that includes Happy Valley too. It's just not referenced there.
It totally does, because Happy Valley is part of that Clackamas for sure. And then Lake Oswego, Westland, the highest price point out of any of these medians, surpassing even Vancouver Heights, Lake Oswego, Westland, just being the prestigious places that they are, lakefront properties, very nice school districts, very well ran city. I actually found that Kyle Warner's dad was running the Westland Parks and Rec as the director.
Oh, that's cool. I
Really
didn't know
cool.
that.
Yeah, 929,800. We're talking sparkling water dispensed in the main strip of Westland. Like there's a water and a sparkling water option if that paints the picture. Mount Hood, Zigzag, Welch's, Rhododendron, Weemy, Brightwood, and Government Camp. I don't know why their median price point is 375,000. That's probably more to do with smaller cabins, things of that nature. There's some places that are on leasehold land up there. I would probably say that if you were to take out some of those anomalies, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive to live up there. I don't think that paints a great picture. Now going back over to the west side, Beaverton, Aloha.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Nike and Intel, 547,000. Tiger, Tualatin, Sherwood, Wilsonville is 600,900. Hillsboro,
Good. How are you?
Forest Grove,
Oh, pause
526,500.
there. Okay. Tell them we'll be there in 10 minutes.
And that last
sorry
one
about that.
here
Thank you.
is North Washington County, Salby Island is 660,000. So hopefully that paints a pretty good picture of the different price points that you could have. I know that's a large swath. Oh, your mic's still on.
Flooding.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good. Let's wrap it up here. Okay. So thanks for watching, guys. And thanks for letting us know that the mic is on. We're gonna end it here. We've been streaming for just a little bit over an hour now.
Sorry, guys. I gotta run.
Yeah.
I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Busy people, reach out to us if you're looking to make the move. Thanks for watching today's stream. No, you're good. Hope you said something fun.